Hello everyone and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs and welcome back to the aquarium. I have been a little bit busy in a stream. We decorated the top floor of our aquarium. It was kind of just torch spam up here, so we came through. We added in this little cafe with some seating. We've got a lovely cute little axolotl in there, and we have some skeletons of some of the creatures throughout the aquarium. The megalodon in the ceiling, as well as all of these info panels with just different FA items. And honestly, I'm really happy we took the time to do this. This looks really cool. I'm really happy that this space finally got utilized and is now a little something. I do need to do some more work back here, filling this in with like an actual cafe, a little kitchen back here, and someone on the live stream suggested that this be a little security room, so I'm probably going to work on that maybe later this episode or just later down the line. But honestly, this looks really cool and really makes the aquarium building feel even more complete, and that's the goal of today's episode. Is we are working on the aquarium, working on finishing it up. So the first big thing that I've also been doing is digging. I have been doing so much digging. Look at all of this. It's down about 7 blocks from where the terrain was originally. I probably will like carve it out a little bit more and do a little bit more like terraforming throughout today's episode. But the digging for today is probably done because we're gonna focus on the mosasaur half. So where these two little jut out bits are, that's gonna be the divider between the mosasaur and the megalodon sides of the lagoon, and we are going to focus on the mosasaur half, which is going to be all of this over. So we've got a big project today and a lot to do, and the first thing I should probably talk about is the terraforming. I am no longer happy with this cliff we did a while ago. It's very organic and it looks really good, but I've come up with a new idea for what I want this to be, and that is I want the whole lagoon to be an abandoned rock quarry. So I want to rethink how we do these kinds of cliffs to make them more geometric, look like they've been cut more, and I also want to obviously work over here. So without wasting too much time, we've got a lot to do, and I like to go straight into a time lapse of making these hills. Okay, I have been so busy. We have these kind of geometric shapes that I wanted, and I think it's come out really well. I'm pretty happy with the style. Obviously, up top here, I don't have much built. I think I'm gonna like try and keep working on it throughout this video, but I might save it for next time we work over in the lagoon area, just because I want to get the mosasaur side of things done. This is not like my top priority at the moment, this top section, but the next step I need to take now that we've gotten kind of this rock work done is I want to actually finish off the enclosure part of this enclosure by just extending this walkway around either side. I'm going to make it basically just a flat extension for now, and we'll add something either later in this video or later down the line to actually give it some interest. But I'm just going to connect these 2 points really quickly, and there it is. Very flat and kind of just an extension, but I think a little bit later we'll go through and we'll kind of break it up with some, like, I'm thinking kind of like little gateways, or almost like how dams have like little passages for water, kind of adding in some grates so that way these enclosures feel connected but also separate. So like I'm gonna come up with a little design of just like some ways that water can flow through and such. But I think this is overall really good. This middle bit, I think eventually I'm going to actually build out a platform and put some kind of build here, like in the middle, that you can like go down and get some like viewing area access. I'm just really trying to focus in on getting the enclosure ready for the Moses. That's the big thing I want to actually do. I want to be able to see them from the viewing vent over there, but I think the next step to actually get to that point is I need to go through and do the groundwork, especially in these areas where there are some like open like ways that they could escape. So I'm going to go through with the shulker boxes of sand that I have down here. I've just got a bunch of the different chipped variants, a lot of wet sand, mostly wet sand, honestly, and then ash and overgrown sand. And so we'll kind of go through and fill out the entirety of the floor, or where I want the quarry floor to be. So I'm going to go through, I'll maybe put some clips in, and yeah, should be pretty good. Alright, the clips I took weren't that great, but I have gone through and basically done the whole ground level with this base layer of wet sand. Now, I chose the wet sand because I think this is going to be the main material that the whole floors are going to be like built out of. And it was a little bit darker than regular sand, so I like the texture a little bit more. It is a really like yellowish color, but I think once we get the deep slate in, it'll look a lot better like color wise. But yeah, I think this is really, really good. It's definitely finished off the enclosure in terms of like actually housing stuff, because we no longer have holes in the ground. So honestly, I think this enclosure works, and we can actually go ahead and get our mosasaurs. So I'm going to fly back to base, grab our DNA, and slap them in the cultivats. I've currently got 3 mosasaur DNAs currently cultivating, and to get ahead of the game, because last time, if you remember, we did the Spinosaurs, and to tame the Spinosaurs, you need an aquatic scarab gem. Now, we have plenty of Dominican amber left, but what we don't have is any scarab gems, so I'm going to break down all of the fossils that I have collected, which is actually quite a bit from all the digging I've done, until I get enough scarab gems to actually tame all of the Moses. Alright, I'm working on filling up the feeder. I've got my scarab gems that I can go ahead and turn into aquatic scarab gems for later. And we have 3 whole mosasaurs that I'm going to go ahead and hatch really quick. These guys will probably like grow up as I finish up this enclosure. So I think if I just place them down, they do. Oh my goodness, that's so cute. Oh, wait, they have such a different texture as babies. I've seen the adults. That's so cute! Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm admiring for justice. Oh my gosh. I just can't stop looking at them. I've been just making like cute baby noises for the past like 5 minutes. They're so adorable, and I genuinely love them so much. It's so cool actually getting to see them swimming around. So I think now what I want to do is actually get back to work on their enclosure and give them a really, really, really cool place to live. So I'm going to go through and do a lot of the texturing that I've been talking about throughout the episode, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the replay footage that I gather and kind of walk you through my thought process on some of the texturing. Alright, this is going to be me explaining how I go about texturing and hopefully doing a decent job. What I basically did is I started with this very small section. I replaced it all with the cobble deep slate as my main texture block, and then I kind of went through with blackstone, mud, and smooth basalt, and kind of putting the darker blocks, that being the blackstone, in kind of areas that would cast more of a shadow, or like those recesses. So basically those were a lot darker, and then I kind of transitioned that blackstone texture to the cobble deep slate using the mud and the basalt, kind of building off of one another. So really trying to focus in on where I think dark parts would be, and using the different kinds of blocks to kind of enunciate them and make them pop out just that extra bit more. Now, I do think that this effect is kind of lost with the shaders and everything, like when you're looking above the water, but when you're swimming around in the enclosure, once all of the cliffs are done, it really came together to make it a lot a lot cooler. And now you can see I'm kind of going through and doing a similar thing with the sand. I'm kind of, instead of making the dark parts darker, I'm kind of transitioning the cliffs into the sand, and I'm using mud again and also the ash sand, and I'm kind of putting in some patches of the overgrown sand. This is where I kind of plan to put the plants on, and specifically the kelp patches. And I also added in some gravel. These are the little things that I would change about the palette, but overall it kind of sold a really cool aesthetic. And now you can kind of see I go back with the seagrass and then adding in the kelp and kind of placing the kelp to the height I want them, and then using shears to kind of lock them into that height. I kind of created these like patches to kind of almost mimic forests and growths just around the entire enclosure. And basically once I was done with setting the style of this part, I carried it over to the rest of the enclosure. And here it is. It's looking so cool. Our mosas are fully grown, and oh my goodness, this whole thing has taken so long, but it was well worth it. I think this is a lot better than how it was to begin with, and I'm pretty happy with it. If I could go back, I probably wouldn't use this sand color. It's just a little too yellowy for my taste, and I wish I could like come back through and I might add some like highlights and stuff. There's things that I could change, but if I keep working on this, I'm definitely gonna burn out and also lose steam. So I'm gonna save like this cliff and stuff for the next episode that we come over here, and I might change some of how the floor works. But overall, I hope that you found those kind of like process explanations like good and like helpful at least. I'm now gonna kind of apply them actually to this wall. I think it's very flat feeling just because it's all one texture. So I'm gonna go through kind of with tuff, some cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, and maybe some stone to just give it a little bit more texture. And with that done, it has helped elevate the wall just that extra little bit, other than just like that flat andesite. It has made it feel more dynamic and more interesting. There are things to look at. And honestly, once like I get the conduit power out of the way and like all that, it makes swimming through here feel much deeper almost, just because it kind of goes darker as you get down to the bottom, and it really sells that like effect, honestly, that the light's not getting all the way down there. So I'm pretty happy with it. There's a couple things that I could add, but running out of time and I need to focus on something above ground now. This walkway, whilst I do like it, does still feel like I could fall into this enclosure at any time. I could just whoop, fall in there. I think that I need to go through and actually add some protective railing to make sure that that doesn't happen, and give this just a little bit of a makeover up top, as well as I want to go through on the sides, add in some like staff ladders and entrances and exits, as well as some like pipes, almost like we're piping water into the exhibit. And then also, like I talked about earlier, I want to break up some of this wall with like kind of almost gates that'll let water like flow between the two enclosures. So I'm going to begin work on that before there's something I need to actually go take care of in the swamp. And that is to actually name the Spinosaurs that we got in our last episode. We've got 3 females in this enclosure and 1 male, and I'm just going to name this one Nina, which, if you don't get the reference, pay attention to the mercenary that sadly got eaten in the last Jurassic World movie. And then the 2 over here, I've got, I hope I'm going to say this right, but Feluca? I don't really know, but I think it's an Egyptian type of boat, which is kind of cool. The male I'm going to name Stern, and then I have 1 more female out the back here, kind of hiding on this little bank. I wish they would get in the water more, but I think they've all gotten stuck, kind of like how the Dilos were. But this one I'm going to name Deidre. And there we go. Our Spinos are named, and all of these suggestions were suggested by people in the comments, which should be on screen now. Thank you to everyone who left a comment. Again, I always really appreciate when you guys watch the videos and leave comments and like tell me that you enjoy them. It really does mean a lot. So thank you for all the support on last episode. It was a lot of work getting all this done, and I'm excited to come back over here eventually. But yeah, I'm really happy with this place. And now I guess we should get back over to the aquarium. Alright, I have been really busy replacing those slabs like I talked about, and instead I kind of added this raised railing. It goes all the way around, and I like it a lot more because it feels better. Like, it feels like I can't just like fall into the enclosure. I haven't done it on the outside because I'm waiting for cliffs and stuff to kind of get some idea of what this is going to be on this side of the walkway. But on this side, I kind of liked it. It makes it feel a lot sturdier and a lot more protected from the guests walking along. The bars are a little bit, I don't know how I feel about them. I like them enough. I kind of wish I could connect them along here, but I don't have the diagonal thing, like the diagonal bars mod, and I don't think I really want it because I don't like it as much as just like vanilla. So I need to figure out something to put here. Maybe like lamp posts on these diagonals would be really cool. But yeah, still thinking about that. And then I also added in the lights so you can kind of get some illumination both at nighttime and during the day into the enclosure. See some of the moses if they come up. And I think it kind of looks really cool, almost like it's sturdy and electricity's running through this. It's nice. Now what I want to do is all of these gaps between the mountains, like where we're going to have tunnels that go underground, I kind of want to actually do the entrance, and I'm kind of going to go based off the design that's already in the aquarium on our lower level. Okay, this is very basic, but it does mirror what we already had pre-established quite nicely, I think. It makes like this kind of industrial feeling entranceway, and I really do enjoy it. I went ahead and carried it to all 4 of the little entrances we had, and I think what we're really waiting for is the actual build to go in here, but with how late this video already is, I'm probably going to save this for the start of next episode, and we'll kind of build like a walkway between them. It's just, this is something I'm not fully certain on. I have some ideas, but a little bit of like testing needs to be done before I can execute it right how I want it. So we're going to save this for next episode so I have more time and it comes out a little bit better. But I also took the time to go ahead on this little section, go ahead and texture it. And I kind of went for like algae growth closer to the water to kind of mimic real world harbors and stuff, using some of the glow lichen and the mossy variants to give that effect. And I also did some trotted stone to make it look like people have been walking here. It's kind of worn down the brick pattern. And if I haven't shouted it out already, I built a sea pickle farm and a glow lichen farm. The tutorials for them will be in the description. They have been really helpful getting all this glow lichen and the pickles down there to just really, speed up the whole process. So look for those. They're really good. Now, what I need to do is actually go through and do all of those variety details like the ladders and stuff. So I'm going to go through and go ahead and finish those up really, really quickly. But before we finish our aquarium, I'd like to introduce you to a new segment all about the forest I'm currently standing in. You see, I have been working on this thing for about a year and it's always needing new trees. And in an effort to keep up with all of that, between all of the project we're working on, I'm going to take a segment out of each episode to work on the forest and shout out my members that you should currently see scrolling through screen right now. All of these people have chosen to support me by becoming a member to the channel, and I just want to say a big, massive thank you. It really means the world to me that you guys would be willing to actually support me in that capacity. So, again, just a massive thank you. I'm also going to take the time to actually promote some of my YouTube stuff, which is, if you didn't know, it's kind of hard to shoehorn into a video. So, I just want to remind you guys that the World Download did come out after last episode and is available for Tier 2 members in my Discord. Also, shout out to my Discord. If you'd like to join, the link is in the description below, and it should be a really fun time if you choose to. But once again, thank you to all my members. I really love you, and yeah, what else is left to say other than these trees look really, really cool and really elevate the builds that we are working on. So, I'm going to keep doing this every single video. I have been busy. I have been doing these small little details all throughout the enclosure, and whilst they're very small and hard to like fully notice on like a big scale, when you're up close in some areas, they really come alive and make the enclosure feel really, really cool. I've put in these lamp posts. I've done like these little algae growths to kind of explain why the walkways are all kind of mossy and stuff. There are these pipes with cool bubble effects in them. I've got, again, like I talked about earlier, these grates that let you look into what will be our Megalodon enclosure, which I am now so excited for, but man, do I need a break from actually making oceans. But I'm really excited to get over there, and once that's done, this whole thing is finished, which is crazy to me. I've been working on this project for about like a month, I want to say, just kind of doing these big projects like this is something I never thought we'd actually be able to do. And look at our mosasaurs over there. They're always bunched up in the southwest corner just because they can be. But yeah, no, this enclosure is feeling really, really cool. I've taken the conduit out and it just feels so cool. I'm in awe, and I'm really happy that I came back and took the time to actually work on this and build this. Now, looking towards the future, I'm really excited to expand on this and work on the Megalodon side of things, but also there's a couple more things that we'll eventually add, just not today because we are running out of time. I really need to get this video out. But one day I'm excited to build a building here that's going to let you look into both enclosures on either side, so you have a really nice view, similar in vein to the one we already have. I'm also thinking of building some kind of water, like shark tunnel, between the two rock formations that we have. All coming in the future, in a future episode later down the line, but honestly, I'm just happy with the progress we've made in today's episode. I just can't understate it enough. I am so glad with this. Having the mosasaurs in the park is something that just like blows my brain, and I'm really happy we did it. So honestly, to end out today's episode, I'm gonna go down to the viewing vent we built, like, I want to say 5 months ago when we first started like actually preparing for this, and I'm gonna wait here until I can see one of our mosasaurs swim by. Oh, there was one. There's one. I saw him. I saw him. Hi. Hi, buddy. Oh my goodness. Okay. I've been standing here for like 5 minutes waiting for them to get out of their corner, but oh my goodness. That's so cool getting to see them from this viewing vent. I haven't actually come and looked down here at these guys. That's so cool. No, getting to like be able to spot them is going to be so cool once we get the other viewing vents in as well. Like, that was so cool getting to like see him come by the glass. It really makes you think of like an actual aquarium with the big sharks like coming up to the glass. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, alright, I'm so pleased. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please be sure to let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to actually leave name suggestions for our 3 mosasaurs. But thank you guys so very much. All of you mean the world to me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!